function multiplied to a trigonometric function. So start with y is equal to e power ax into sine bx plus c. Right. Okay. So we find the first derivative. It is slightly more complex than what we have dealt with before. So we go for a substitution. So we use our polar coordinates here. Instead of the Cartesian coordinates, we go for the polar coordinates here. We use a substitution, which you will have to remember for this derivation. Yeah. Start with the function y is equal to e power ax into sine bx plus c. Yeah. Okay. So this is the first thing we mentioned. This is the function we differentiated. Okay, e power ax is kept as it is. Derivative of sine bx plus c is a cos bx plus c, and derivative of bx plus c is a b. And then this time keep the sine function as it is. Derivative of e power ax is e power ax, and derivative of ax is a. So can you see that we have two terms here? So if you take an e power ax common out, within brackets, do we get an a sine bx plus c plus b cos bx plus c? Quickly verify and tell me whether it's right. If you take an e power x common out, is this what we get in brackets? E power a into sine bx plus c plus b into cos bx plus c. Yes or no? Any repeatal here? We're just differentiating. We're applying product rule. We kept e power ax as it is and differentiated the sine function. We kept sine function as it is. We differentiated the exponential function. Yeah. So then you took the exponential function common out and we got within brackets an a sine bx plus c plus b cos bx plus c. Now we go for a substitution. In place of a, put an r cos theta, and in place of b, put an r sine theta. Okay, so wherever a is there, substitute an r cos theta, and wherever b is there, substitute an r sine theta. So these are the two things that we'll keep ready. Okay, we are interested in what will be r then with this substitution, what would r become, and then what would theta become with this substitution. Now to get r, square on both sides and add these two equations, a equal to r cos theta, b is equal to r sine theta. If you square on both sides, so you can see a square equal to r square cos square theta, b square equal to r square sine square theta. But when you add a square plus b square, you will get r square common out. Within brackets, you will get a sine square theta plus cos square theta, which is nothing but a 1. So that is why we got a square plus b square is r square, which means r is equal to square root of a square plus b square. Okay, it is, yeah, square root of a square plus b square. And what about b by a? When I do a b by a, what do I get? I get an r sine theta by r cos theta. R will get cancelled. So a sine theta by cos theta, which is nothing but a tan theta. So if b by a is tan theta, what is theta? Is theta tan inverse b by a? Is theta tan inverse b by a? Okay, any doubt till here? Any repeat till here? Just a substitution. Wherever a is there, r cos theta. Wherever b is there, r sine theta. If that is the case, what is the relation between a, b, and r? So you said a square plus b square will become r square, or in other words, r is equal to square root of within square root a square plus b square. And then you divide b by a, you're able to, yeah. Yeah, this is substitution. For a derivation of this kind, that this is the approach they take. They use the polar coordinates and write it. Yeah, beyond this, I don't have an explanation. Okay, so b by a is tan theta, and theta is equal to tan inverse b by a. To simplify, otherwise it's going to get complicated. Second derivative, third derivative. Imagine your second derivative. That itself is going to have 4 terms. That itself is going to have 4 terms, and it involves a sine, it involves a cos. The whole thing is so complicated. So this substitution will help us get an answer in an easier way. So that is why they have made the substitution. Right. Okay, so I don't see any doubts still here. So we know what is R and we know what is theta in terms of A and B. Now come back to our first derivative. You already wrote that your first derivative is e power ax outside and within brackets a sine bx plus c. So in place of a, he's put an r cos theta. In place of b, he's put an r sine theta. So if you look at this, is r common for both the terms? Yes. Is r common for both the terms? Within brackets r is common, so that r is taken out, and then you see a sine a cos b plus a cos a sine b. Can you write this as a sine a plus b? Sine a cos b plus cos a sine b is there, can we write it as a sine a plus b? So is this step right? Any repeat for the first derivative? Any repeat for the first derivative? Yeah, so which means we just substituted wherever A is there, you put an R cos theta, wherever B is there, you put an R sin theta, and then you can see that you have R common in both the terms, so that R you're writing ahead. So within brackets, you can see a cos theta sin BX plus C and a sin theta cos BX plus C. So if theta is capital A and bx plus c is capital B, you can see within brackets something like a sine A cos B plus a cos A sine B. Yeah. So that is nothing but sine of A plus B. In this case, yeah, we have a theta, we have a bx plus c. So you're able to write it as a sine of A plus B. So this is our first derivative. Anybody doing it, mention a doing it. Substitution step. Okay. So in this one, because it is a complicated derivation, to simplify the derivation, you will see why he is using this substitution. The substitution is, yeah, A equal to R cos theta and B is equal to R sin theta. A is equal to R cos theta and B is equal to R sin theta. This is a substitution he's making only to simplify the process. Yeah. So that is why when A is r cos theta and B is r sin theta, what is A square plus B square? Will it be r square cos square theta plus r square sin square theta? That is nothing but you take an r square common out, within brackets you will get a cos square theta plus sin square theta, which is nothing but a 1. So that's why you are getting this equation A square plus B square equal to r square, or r is equal to square root of A square plus B square. That is R in terms of A and B. Next, we want to get theta in terms of A and B. So we know A is R cos theta, B is R sin theta. So B by A, can I say that it is R sin theta by R cos theta? R and R gets cancelled, and B by A is nothing but the tan theta. So B by A is the tan theta. So now what is theta? Theta is nothing but tan inverse of B by A. Theta is equal to tan inverse of B by A. So in the substitution that you made, you know the relation between A and B, and then you know the relation between theta A and B. We got R in terms of A and B and theta in terms of A and B. Only, yeah, within brackets, we have done this just to simplify what is within the brackets. E power ax we have kept as it is. E power ax we have kept as it is, but what is within the brackets, you can see that we are making this substitution. Right? Okay, so I don't see it doing it, so I'll move to the next slide and then we can come back to this one. Last step. Okay, now once you have simplified your y1, this is where we stopped and this is where we went for substitution. Now that you put your substitution, e power ax you write as it is, but wherever a is there, put an r cos theta, wherever b is there, it's put an r sin theta. So you can see that r is common in both the terms, so you brought your r ahead, r into e power ax as it is outside. Within brackets, you can see a sin a cos b plus a cos a sin b, which is nothing but sine of a plus b. So that formula we are using here. Sine of A plus B. Yeah. This is a standard method where they use R equal to A cos theta. Yeah. A is equal to R cos theta and B is equal to R sin theta. In many other proofs also I have seen whenever from Cartesian they move to polar coordinates, this is a substitution that we see. Okay, so we move on to the next slide and then we see whether what we did will make sense. Yeah. Now look at this one. Y1 last stage is an R e power ax sine bx plus c plus theta. Okay. If that is our Y1, would Y2 be an R, one more R would come ahead, e power x will remain as it is, bx plus c, and in place of theta, do we get a 2 theta for the second derivative? Quickly compare the first derivative with the second derivative and check whether it's right. Would this be the second derivative if this were the first derivative? R, one more time it would come. Okay. And then e power x will remain as it is and sine bx, because when you differentiate your y1, again you're going to have two terms, right? You will apply product rule and you will have again two terms. So, and you go for the substitution and this is what you will get. So that is why we are writing straight away from the first derivative, we're writing the second derivative. From the second derivative, we are writing the third derivative. From the third derivative, we are writing the nth derivative. But if you cannot just put this as your nth derivative because you made a substitution, what is it you've substituted? Wherever r is there, you have put a square root of a square plus b square. Wherever theta is there, it's a tan inverse b by a. These are variables you have introduced. So what they mean, you should write. So this whole thing will become the nth derivative. This whole thing will become nth derivative. Or put them there in the equation itself and write it like this. Or what you can do is you can, yeah, what we can do is, yeah, substitute your r and theta in the equation itself. So final answer would be d power n into e power x sine ax plus b is r in place of r, because r power n is coming. So r is a square root of this. So r power n e power x and then sine bx plus c n into theta, and theta is a tan inverse b by a. Yeah. Quickly confirm if this is right. Yes, because theta and r are what you have introduced. You have to get rid of them. So you put them back and then you substitute and get the whole equation in terms of, yeah, a's and b's. Yeah, you brought in the variables r and theta. Those you have to eliminate in your final answer. Is it right? Y1, Y2, Y3, and Yn. And in Yn, we are eliminating our r and theta and putting back the values of r and theta. So this is the expression we got. 2 theta is obtained. Okay. So if this is my y1, if this is my final answer for y1, I need to get y2. So to get y2, again, process is the same. You have to apply product rule. So would you get a sine term and a cos term? When you differentiate this one, will you get in terms of sine and cos? Because e power x you'll keep as it is. Derivative of sine is coming in terms of cos. Next, sine you will keep as it is. You will differentiate e power x. Again, two terms will come. Yeah. And then again, you will go for that substitution. A equal to r cos theta, b is equal to r sine theta. Then you will see a sine a cos b plus cos a sine b coming. You will add up again a sine a plus b. And earlier you had 1 theta. One more time you will have a 2 theta. Another theta will come. So that is why you will get a 2 theta with that substitution. It's the same substitution that would have come again. Had you differentiated your y1, you would end up at a y2. Got it, Neon? Yeah, you can draw a rough column there and just quickly you can for yourself check differentiate y1 and get y2 by making that substitution. In the rough column, you can verify whether y2 is right. Yeah, anybody on this slide, anybody doing it, mention doing it? Yeah, no hurry. Right, okay. So if that is the derivation of e power ax into sine ax plus b, then you check the derivation of e power ax into cos ax plus b. Okay, you will get the same formula. You will have a square root of a square plus b square power n and e power ax cos bx plus c plus n tan inverse b by a. Okay, so yeah, this second derivation you will have to try on your own and check whether you're getting this answer. Okay, so leave some place, finish it off later on. For now, just copy the formula. But in the derivation, you need to you should know how to differentiate first one, finding the nth derivative of the first function and the second function as well. Where Vibhu? Where exactly? Original Y. Original Y. Original Y, we have taken an e power ax into sine bx plus c, right? This is our original Y. This is what you're talking about, Vibhu? Y equal to e power ax into sine bx plus c. Mm, check again. Check again. How is an ax plus b coming? Vibhu, I'll unmute you. Just see whether you can explain what exactly. Yeah, Vibhu, I've unmuted you. Go ahead.
No, 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 actually got it. Actually, here it is written e power ax into sine bx plus c, and below it was written sine of ax plus b. So that must be wrong.
Okay, 1 second. Yeah.
Yeah. Sin ax plus b. That's why I was confused.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Right. Yeah. This is a bx plus c. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, Simran, go ahead.
No, ma'am, my doubt is clear now. Actually, I was facing a problem and you showed the slide, so it's okay.
Yeah. Well, there was a typing mistake. Yeah. It's not.
Yes.
I'll change it. I'll change and put it in the classroom. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody on this slide mention doing it? Otherwise, I'm moving on. Mentioner doing it. What do you mean? Excuse you, Sairaj. What do you want to do? You want to leave? Okay. No problem. Yeah, hurry up, Ritik. Right, okay. So you seem to have finished. We move on to the next one. Yeah, so here are two questions. First one is, find the nth derivative of e power x sin x cos 2x. Yeah, e power x sin x cos 2x. Yeah, so this is where we begin. Quickly check whether the first step is right. Yeah, this is where we begin. Next, sin A cos B formula he's using, and then he's writing it as a sin A plus B minus of sin A minus B. Sin A plus B minus of sin A minus B. Two sin A cos B formula he's using, and he's writing this. Check whether it's right. Sin 3x minus sin x. Because if it's a product, we cannot apply the derivation that we just did. We only know how to handle an exponential function with just a sine or just a cos, but we don't know how to handle an exponential function multiplied to both sine and cos. So that's why we have to go back and rewrite those functions. So when we write and use some standard formula, can we get it explicitly in terms of sine or cos? So here he's writing a sine 3x minus sine x. Quickly confirm whether it's right. Cos A sin B formula is right. 2 cos A sin B. Yeah. If it is right, then looking at y, decide your nth derivative. Looking at your y, decide your nth derivative. Which one are you asking me to explain? So Smith, rewriting of that function, the trick. Are you asking me to explain the first step itself? Okay. First step, if only I had just e power x into only sine or only cos, we know we can apply the derivation that we just did in the previous slide and write the answer. But here you see that e power x is not just multiplied to only sine or only cos, it's multiplied to both sine and cos. So you have to rewrite that function. Nothing you can do about the exponential function. You see both the trigonometric functions. You have a cos A sine B there. So what is 2 cos A sine B? Is it a sine A plus B minus sine A minus B? You should know better. Keep one trigonometry textbook open there. As in when you use an identity, check whether the identity is right. Yeah. Check whether the result is right and copy it there in the rough column. Yeah. That's the only way you can by heart those. So many identities are there, trigonometric results. Yeah. So he's using, yeah. So 2 cos A sine B is sine of A plus B minus of sine of A minus B. Sine of A plus B. No, so Smith, which book are you looking into? Just check again. That's not a right result. Yeah. Cos A sine B is 2 cos A sine B is sine of A plus B minus of sine A minus B. What about the others? Quickly confirm whether it's right. Is it right? Yeah. If it is right, then straight away we apply the nth derivative. We need to apply nth derivative for first term. Yeah. E power x into sine 3x and second term e power x into sine x. So we want to apply the nth derivative. Now remember, look at this carefully. Tell me what is your A and what is your B. Look at this carefully and give the answers. What is A for this question? A is 1, right, and B is? A is 1 and B is 3. Right. Okay. A is 1 and B is 3. What about this one? What about this one? A is 1 and B is 1. Okay. So now you apply your formula. Square root of 1 square plus 3 square will come here and square root of 1 square plus 1 square will come. Whole power n, exponential function as it is. So e power x as it is. And then we have sine, 3x plus n tan inverse b by a, and b by a is 3 by 1 in this case. So this term, this particular term seems to be completely right. This term seems to be completely right. Then move on to the second one. In place of a, we have a 1. In place of b also we have a 1. So 1 square plus 1 square square root whole power n. So that's a half square root power half whole power n. So that is a power n by 2. You can write it as a power n by 2. And then the exponential function as it is. Yeah. Exponential function as it is. And then tan inverse 1 will come. So tan inverse 3 for the first term, tan inverse 1 for the second term. And then the final answer is this. Okay, tan inverse 1 is a 45 degrees. So 5 by 4 he's placing there. Yeah. Yes, you can leave it as it is. Negative in y. How is a sign negative in? Where is it? Where are we doing that? Sine of minus x is minus sine x. Where are we doing it? I don't get it. Rishikesh, which step are you talking about? Step 1. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay, any doubts, any repeats? Any typing errors? No, this is from a textbook. Yes, anybody doing it, mention you're doing it in the next 30 seconds, otherwise we'll move on. Hurry up, hurry up. Is what correct? Sushmit, Biparen. Yeah, some textbook use that notation also. In this case, it's a YN, but Viparen also is done. Some textbooks, they do that. Vipar 1, Vipar 2. Yeah, derivatives, different ways to denote the derivatives. Yeah, here it's a typing mistake, yes. Okay, no doing it. I'm assuming you finished. I'm moving on. Right. The next question is about a hyperbolic function, sine hyperbolic function, sine 4x. Okay, so now hyperbolic function, relation between a hyperbolic function and an exponential function is a hyperbolic function can be written as an exponential function in this form. Okay, so if somewhere in the rough column you write these two formulae that we have, one is sine, yeah, sine hx, and the second one is a cos hx. Yeah. So this is an e power x. Yeah. E power x minus of e power minus x whole divided by 2. When it's a cos h, x, same formula, but with a plus sign there. So these are the two formula that you have to by heart. Yeah. So then he's converted sine into exponential functions. Then he took the half ahead, then exponential function into sine 4x, exponential function into sine 4x. So look at this first one. Give me what are values of a and b here. Give me the values of a and b for the first expression. Yeah, these are derivations. I cannot recall, Simran. These are some derivations which would come, but would they come under study of complex numbers? I'm not really sure. At some point of time, I remember I had derived these, but where exactly I do not. I'm not able to recall the relation between the hyperbolic and the exponential functions. Yeah. Yeah, first term A is 2, B is 4, second term A is a minus 2, and B is again a 4. Yeah, and then check whether these answers are right. Yes, that is right, Arpan. Sin Ix is the same as sin Hx. Second last step is wrong. Just quickly check where it's going wrong. Tan inverse of -2. 1 second. Yeah. Yes. B by A when you do it's a -2. Yes. Yes. Any other mistakes there? Which one, Arpan? Arpan says minus sign was taken out. But one minus has been coming right from the beginning, though the minus is still there. One minus sign has been coming right from the first step. So that minus sign, 4x minus n tan 2. Ah, okay. Okay. Yeah, this will be a plus then. If you are still continuing with the -2 within brackets, this will be a plus. Any other mistakes? E power -2x, how did it come out? 1 second. E power 2x came for the first term, and then e power -2x for the second term. No, it's missing. If you're taking an e power 2x common out, then e power -4x should be still there inside the last step. If you're taking an e power 2x common out, then you should have an e power -4x still there. So don't take common out, just keep it as it is. Skip the last step and yeah, write this much, keep this step separate, but simplify what is within this under root and within this under root. That's a root 20, right? Root 20 whole power n. Yeah, don't write the last step, then just leave it at this one. Because it's an e power 2x here and an e power -2x. So if you take an e power 2x common out, then the second step will still have an e power -4x there. So don't simplify, don't take common out, keep it as it is. Right, anybody doing it, mention doing it, otherwise we move on. Yeah, 2 mistakes we can see. Last step we will completely skip the previous one, it's a tan inverse of -2. Okay, so I don't see her doing it, so I'm moving ahead. What about the 2 in the denominator are putting the coefficient? A half was still there. That half did you take care of? Okay, right. Arpan told us he cannot write, he can only type. Yeah, so he's good at typing. Yeah. Okay, these are the questions. I don't know whether the image is clear. First one, at least copy the questions. First one is an e power 3x sine square x, e power minus 3x cos cube x, e power x cos square x sine x, and e power 4x sine square x sine 2x. Okay. These are the 4 questions. It's 12:45. If I wind up now, will you finish these? Next 10 minutes, next 15 minutes? Yeah, so next class we start with what is called the Leibniz theorem. Yeah, have you done Leibniz theorem in 12th, 11th or 12th? Nth derivative theorem.